So just to introduce myself, so my name is Doug Vincent. I'm the Chief Executive and one of the founders at Mastt. I'm a former client-side project manager. Still got a lot of friends who work in the industry, and so I'm here to serve you. And I love AI. I haven't gone as far as getting the AI girlfriend just yet. I'm not a total loser. I do have a wife, but I definitely love AI. And I think what it brings to our industry is just truly phenomenal. So I'm excited to go through today's webinar. And if you do have any questions, throw them into the chat, and I'll do my best to get to them at the end. But there is a lot of people here, so I don't think I'll be able to get to all of them. But let's see. I am recording it as well, so this will be distributed afterwards. So don't feel like you need to take notes or screenshots or anything like that. All of what you're seeing now is being recorded and will be shared with you probably within 24 hours of us wrapping up. So just to introduce you to Mastt, for those who don't know it, we started the business on a pretty simple premise to build easy to use tools for client-side project managers, killing a lot of spreadsheets and removing a lot of double handling of information. But where we sit today, the vision is a future that is just undoubtedly human plus AI. I mean, people are already using AI in their personal lives for therapy and all sorts of stuff with ChatGPT and some of the other tools, but it hasn't really come to our industry just yet, but it will. And so we see a future where agentic AI is just in every construction project team around the world, creating this true human plus AI workforce, almost like an augmentation of the human workforce. We don't see it as a replacement. We actually see it as the opposite, as a liberation of project managers who spend way too much time doing super boring stuff that they don't want to do. And our industry is full of super smart people who studied at university to be engineers and the like, and then find themselves in a spreadsheet. So that's the vision for our business. We're working hard to bring that to life. And so today's webinar is all about introducing that advantage, because the future, as I've said, is definitely not one where it's just a human. It will be a man plus machine scenario. And that combination is quite unstoppable. And you're kind of competing against that today, actually, because from where we're sitting, our vantage point, some firms are truly killing it with AI right now. So some of what we'll cover today is challenges we face, which I'm sure you will all know about. What is AI? So it's always nice just to introduce it, and I'll cover that off so that you can talk confidently with your friends, with your family about what that is. We'll look at where we can cut work out of our day, save effort. I'm going to actually share my screen using Mastt AI, and I'll give you a live demo of 3 super impressive things that you can use right now with AI in our product. So stick around for that. And then lastly, how you can actually access some of what you're seeing today, which is safe, sovereign, and secure and free. So you can get started right after this. So lots to cover. We'll crack straight into it. And I think all of us in this industry operate with some level of unconsciousness to all of the challenges that we face, because they've just persisted for so long. They've just become status quo. And so we sit back and we think, oh, there's no hope. I'm never going to get relief from all of this work. And we forget about it. But what that really means is we have a lot of really smart people getting paid to do super silly work. And so I don't think that's very empowering for those people. And it's also not good for our industry, because that means our best people are being paid to do, pretty low value work that could be done by someone else. And in an industry where literally roles have administration attached to it, contract administration, project administration, these roles should really be liberated and let those people do other more valuable things on the projects. So we're seeing project managers spending 30, 40% of their time, even more in some instances, complete roles like I just listed, just doing admin work. This is slowing the projects down. The new generation of PMs is super frustrated and getting burnt out. They don't want to be doing this work when they see their friends working in other industries that are absolutely just ripping technology everywhere. And so all of this means we have less time for clients, less time for stakeholders, less time for building trust, and also reduces the availability of our time internally to mentor the teams and work with our colleagues to build strong relationships, at work. So this is a huge opportunity cost for us. So it might be that we can save, 48 hours of time cutting down on tasks, but that time is just instantly reinvested into more valuable things. So it's not like people are going to be sitting on a beach. As soon as an hour of time savings manifests, it is instantly reinvested in this industry into something more valuable. And so in an era of like crazy competition, there's just PM firms popping up everywhere with incredible services. The fight for talent is fierce. The administration is crazy. Clients, are always trying to get the costs down and, critique our fees or your fees. And so now is really the time to get moving. And then at a macro level, everyone knows we've got huge labor shortages and growing red tape and growing costs. So we need to cut down, we need to get more efficient. But the good news is AI is no longer just hype. It's here, it's secure, it's reliable, especially in Australia. It's ready today. So what we'll go through with some things you can actually use now so that I'll prove to you that it is not actually hype, that you can start right now. One good thing to know with this is, from our vantage point, seeing these firms, you are competing against AI right now, and especially contractors. They're getting quite clever, quite savvy, and you just don't really know what's behind that variation or that EOT. Have they run this through AI? And so soon it's going to become an AI versus AI battle over the contract and over the work. On the client side, they're definitely expecting more. They know AI is here. They want to see innovation. They want to see these data-driven outcomes. They're using these tools themselves in their personal life, and they want to have those experiences at work as well, understandably so. And so from where we see it, the race is on actually to discover use cases. A lot of people use it, I'll create a poem or I'll, create a shopping list or a recipe. We haven't actually opened up our minds to the spectrum of use cases for client-side project management and construction. And so workshopping that internally, discovering valuable use cases and integrating those into the business is a huge opportunity. So the future is bright. Humans are definitely better off with AI, and I'll help bring down those emotional barriers for those people who might feel a little uncomfortable or threatened by it, but just another tool. So I'll explain that to you in a moment. But here's kind of how that's manifesting in the real world. So project managers are using AI note takers, to do minutes. They're having AI tools monitor their inbox. They're getting agents to draft really nice emails that are, contractually sound and, right in accordance with the brief. Project managers are working with AI. They're running 50 or more schedule scenarios or cash flow scenarios with AI in minutes, work that would have taken weeks, if not months, to do before. We've seen contractors analysing drawings. It's pretty sneaky, but actually looking at the drawings before they submit their bid to see where the opportunities are for variations. So that's a pretty clever one to watch out for. And then the last one, really cool one, rather than just kind of doing your normal RFP thing, people think about who the RFP is going to be read by, looking at that demographic or that type of tender assessor, and then writing the response more sympathetic to that person, increasing their chances of winning. And then the last really, really cool use case project managers have right now is they're using AI as a bit of a therapist. So where a junior PM maybe wouldn't have, the vertical development or the maturity of someone a lot older, now they can navigate a complex situation with AI as their therapist, as their mentor, as their strategist to get a great outcome. So this is accelerating personal development, professional development in the vertical domain. And these people just appear to be, winning. That's how I like to call it. They just make it look easy. So this is happening right now inside our industry here in Australia. But what exactly is AI? What does it really mean? You've probably seen it in the media a lot. OpenAI, Microsoft, this concept of chat, these things are taking over. More recently, some awesome generative AI videos, which are just absolutely incredible. Only 8 seconds right now with some of the Google tools, but they will definitely get longer. So what does this all mean? I would just encourage everybody to step back and have a look, because really all of these terms that you hear, whether it's AI or machine learning, you've probably heard the word deep learning before, generative AI, large language models, and then even products like ChatGPT. These are all terms that are in the same field. And so you might consider each of these, subsets of knowledge, subsets of techniques and products, all in the realm of AI, and they're all kind of just derivatives of each other. So machine learning, kind of at the top there in the AI domain, has actually been around since the 60s, but more recently, down the bottom of that circle, as the AI learning and development research has gotten a lot better, the kind of new hot thing is generative AI and large language models. They're the most recent innovations in the space, and then people are creating products around those to bring AI to the market. So wouldn't be worried about it at all. And then some, more emergent terms that you might hear is agentic AI. So this is AI that actually reasons and plans. It has like this type of thinking behavior. So I would frame agentic AI more as something that is a behavioral element of AI, if that makes sense. And they use memory and context to improve itself over time without an instruction. And so this makes it really good for tasks that don't have strict workflows or strict rules on what to do. They can really think on their own and navigate through tasks towards an outcome. And so you'll hear that word a lot. And then you'll also hear the term AI agent, which is kind of the manifestation of agentic AI and different tasks bottled up into, an agent. People used to call it like, a bot, but it didn't really have AI in it. And this is more of an autonomous worker that can execute tasks for you. Think of it just like a human. You have a designer, you have a, structural engineer. AI agents will have similar things, domain expertise and agentic AI behavior in those roles to be able to do these things. And they can break down complex problems into steps really easily and then execute those things for you. And the best part is you can interact with them just like you can a human. So people are collaborating right now with AI agents and just emailing them as if they were just another team member. So it's super cool stuff. But when using AI, it's not all equal. Like, I wouldn't say you can use AI for everything. Right now, it's best for probably these 4. I don't think we're going to send AI out into the field until we have some type of, hardware that AI can actually make its way to the field, like a robot or something. And so the big opportunities are really in these 4 areas, cutting back on admin, preparing things, knowledge is definitely an easy opportunity to use AI. And then I think one that's kind of undervalued is using it for thinking and creativity, like bouncing off ideas and brainstorming and trying to synthesize data to create some new insight. So that's really the opportunity space, is in those 4. I don't think we'll hit the kind of field work, construction side of our industry until we start to get some robots in the field or some better way to capture, field data. So what does this all mean for a project manager day in the life? Diary maybe look like this, probably worse than this actually, but this is just an example. A lot of spreadsheets, doing a lot of manual work, maybe a rushed lunch, followed by, doing some payment claims and things like that. And then maybe at the end of the day, they'll have time to work on some of the more high value things, the proactive stuff. Whereas if you can remove and eliminate from your diary some of those more laborious administrative things that AI can handle, you actually open up the calendar to be spending time on way more proactive, way more value add work. And that is a huge opportunity. So this is where we want the calendar, the diary to be going for a project manager over the next few years. But it doesn't happen straight away. These are small iterative compounding improvements over time as they integrate into the role and into the process. So it doesn't happen all at once. Okay, so let's see some AI in action. Enough of me talking. What I'm going to show you is 3 demos. So the first demo is a pretty simple one. It's like an AI, using AI to pre-fill forms. I don't know any project managers that like doing data entry. And so this is a really good use case, and customers of Mastt, absolutely rip this feature all the time, and because it just saves a ton of time. And so we'll do that. And then at the same time, I'll probably do the progress claim review demo. It kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. We'll actually take a contract and then upload a progress claim against that contract and watch AI review it, which is pretty awesome. And then the last demo, which will just be a bit of a sneak peek, is really this kind of contract assistant type AI that we have that is new and emergent and evolving. And then I think in later webinars, I'll actually go through a lot more use cases in detail. So this is what we'll cover today. And all of what you see is in Mastt. And so rest assured on the products that we're using, meet residency, meet sovereignty requirements. Your data is yours. And these are the products that we're using to do that. And if you want to know more, all of this is on our website, and including our privacy policy and terms. But only really recently have we been able to do this in Australia with some of the products and third-party services that have become available. But the big one is, I think, the data residency and sovereignty for our clients. Okay, so let me stop sharing my screen for a moment. Okay, so I've got my screen shared, and what you're looking at is just my Mastt demo account. So for those of you who don't know what Mastt is, and I've got a few projects in here, a couple of programs. I'm not going to go deep into the functionality of the system because we want to get to the AI. We want to get to the good stuff. So I'm going to jump straight into project A. And I'll land here on the dashboard, which is used for a lot of, reporting, PCG reports, steering committees, all sorts of stuff. You can customize all this on your own and build some absolutely awesome stuff. All of this comes from the cost module, which is where I'm about to go now, because that's where we're going to do the AI pre-fill demo. Cool. All right, so we're in the cost tracker. For those of you who are not familiar with Mastt, this is a replacement for those nasty spreadsheets that project managers will have for budgeting and variations and managing progress payments, etc. And one of the most annoying jobs of managing a spreadsheet like that is you will receive, a variation or a progress claim, or you'll appoint a new vendor like a consultant or a contractor, and then you'll have to add that data in to your register. And so what I'm going to bring up here is just a sanitized consultancy agreement. And so you can kind of see here, got a role, some mock clauses, some line items. Doesn't really matter the size, take up to 500 pages. And I'm just going to drag that on here to the AI form fill feature and let Mastt AI start doing its work. And so this is a shorter document, but you can upload like an absolutely insane AS 2124 or an AS 4902. Some of the defense suite of contracts are even longer, but just get the PDF. Doesn't matter if it's a really nasty, scanned and then signed thing. A lot of the lawyers like to put it all together into one big PDF. And so just get that big PDF, drag it on here, and you'll see that that has just completely on its own taken the data out and put it into this form. And I'll explain a bit more about what it's doing in a moment. But let's take a look at what it's done. It's pulled out all the line items from the form. It's given it a name. It's identified it as a consultant. It's put it under the design budget, which is good. Pulled out all the roles for the client, the consultant, and this is just a standard consultant agreement, but you can customize these based on, the AS standard form that you are using. So this is looking good. I'm pretty happy with this. And that is kind of just a quick overview of the form fill. And so I'm going to shift now into the second demo, which is the AI payment review. And so to review a payment, you need to know what's in the contract and your jurisdiction. So under the Security of Payments Act, it's enacted state by state, your projects will have locations and then additional rules. But what you want to be able to do is take all of the conditions precedent to payment that are inside the contract and pull it out, and then use that as your checklist for when we get the progress claim. And so what Mastt AI has done here, it's reviewed the contract, it's created its own checklist for what needs to be satisfied for when an invoice or a payment comes in. For example, you need to have adequate insurance coverage, and then underneath it says here, this is all done completely by AI. Confirm the consultant maintains a minimum of 20 million public liability insurance and provide evidence when requested. And so this has done this automatically. Normally, we'll see project managers do this with like a checklist, and then they'll tick these things off for each progress claim that they're getting. But now we can just do it automatically. You can still add your own. If you want to add a manual requirement, you can, or edit and delete any of the checklist that you see here. So if you do want your progress claims reviewed, step one is to upload the contract. Get this checklist right to the point where you're happy with it, because that will be locked in stone for step two. So I'm going to add that in. Okay, looking good. Boom, nice green flash just appeared there in my cost tracker. Looking good. Can drill into it if I need to. It's gone into my contracts register automatically, and I'm going to go now to the payments register. So let's skip forward now and imagine that that consultant has submitted a progress claim or an invoice. Doesn't really matter, whatever it is. So again, this is just a mock progress claim or payment claim with a bunch of stuff in here. Again, doesn't matter how long it is, totally fine. And I'm going to get that progress claim, just get the PDF, and I'm going to drag it on to the AI pre-fill form. So it is important right now that it's a PDF. So we can only handle PDFs. Well, it's starting to fill the form already in front of our eyes here. So taking a PDF is all we can do right now, but soon we're going to expand it to take other documents like spreadsheets and Word documents, but nearly everyone's submitting these things in PDF anyway right now. So we thought that was a really good place to start. Okay, so we're nearly done here. 86%. And what it's finally doing now, it's reviewing the payment documentation for compliance. So the process is the document comes in using OCR. It actually captures each page, converts it into text, and then does a lot of custom prompting over the top of the different models that we're using. And then the last step, once it's got all of the data, is now doing the kind of AI review part. So you can see all the lines here that have filled in purple for the actual line items. But the part we want to have a look at now is the AI review. So I'm going to click into the AI review tab. I'm just going to close the processing window, and let's have a look at what AI has done. So just to explain what you're looking at, the left-hand side is the checklist. This was generated when we first uploaded the contract, and you saw that in the screen a minute ago. The middle column is the status. So what's the status of this check? Has it been accepted? Has it been rejected? Is it missing? Is it not applicable? That's the status of the check. And then the third column here is the AI's response. So let's look at this easy one, confirm GST calculation. It states here that GST calculation is shown clearly, the calculations are right, and it's actually gone through and provided some supporting details as part of its assessment. And it's done that for each check. And so what this is doing is providing a super quick first quality pass over any invoice, any progress claim. Doesn't matter how long it is or complicated it is. As long as we have that contract, we can then do the assessment of each progress claim coming in. And as always with working in the AI domain, you do want to check the AI's work. So human in the loop is the experience that we want. And if you think that you want to override an AI decision, you can come in here and you can kind of check that off yourself really easily. So this is AI that is being used right now to increase the quality of work being done by a project manager who maybe before didn't know how to read the contract, they're complex, confusing documents, and now with just a few drags of a PDF can do the work of a seasoned pro with the help of AI and do it in a matter of minutes. I mean, we've just added in a payment, added in a contract, and I'm finished down here. Added in, progress claims, and then the end of the line, generating a payment recommendation or generating a payment schedule. Mastt will do that for you as well. So no longer having to enter data into a spreadsheet, no longer having to do Word document checklist to tick all these things off, and then no longer having to actually then do a payment certificate or a payment recommendation in a Word document or another file. I mean, just right there, that's not even AI. Just there, right there, is an hour of time saving for a project manager. So amazing stuff. And with that, we're going to move into the last demo. So I won't bring back up the presentation. I'm just going to skip straight to it. So we're going to jump into Mastt AI here. Cool, and we're presented with the normal chat interface. So the third demo, what I wanted to capture was you just added in a contract, you've now done some payments, but maybe we have some questions around that contract. We want to be able to chat with it in a natural language to ask questions. And so a simple one might be you're joining a project, and I can see in the top right-hand corner here, that's the contract that we uploaded earlier as our source for this chat. And maybe I'm onboarding to this project or I haven't been part of the contract negotiations and I want to get up to speed on everything that's inside this document. I mean, sometimes these contracts are marked up, to within an inch of their life, and you have the kind of main clause in the conditions, and then you have all of these amendments and markups in the back, and the poor project managers and contract administrators have to, try and cross-reference which parts have been removed by the lawyers, and then maybe they're also in appendices. Like, it's just a nightmare trying to figure out what is the actual rule in the contract. And so using AI, this is a perfect example of how you can use AI to make sense of a really complicated document. So just a simple question, bring me up to speed on this contract. Mastt will go through the document, understand the document, and bring out all of the key information. Even here, it's noted that there is a discrepancy in the contract between the schedule line items and the total value that's stipulated in the conditions. So it's given us a nice overview here, the key personnel, the limits of insurance, and this is all saving me time without having to read the document. But on occasion, you might need to actually take action under the contract. And that might require generating, a letter or doing some work. And so I know this is a, fairly drastic change of pace here, but imagine, we've just appointed this person, this consultant, now we need to terminate them, and we need to draft a letter to make sure that we're ticking the I's and crossing the T's under the contract, and doing that in a way that is protecting the client. And so, again, complicated contracts, clauses that we don't often use, and making sure that we're following all of the rules that are in that contract to protect the owner is absolutely paramount, because the cost of disputes in this industry is absolutely insane. And so here we go. We've drafted a notice of termination. It's got the right clause 10. It's got the right parties. It's just asking us to put in the date, and it's formatted here, quite a nice letter that sounds professional and referencing everything as you would. And the last stage of this is you need to download it to a Word document. You can just click download, take that out to a Word document, put your letterhead on it, and then again, you've just saved, an hour of time. So absolutely amazing what you can do with AI, and everything I've shown you here is available inside Mastt now. There's a lot of use cases for this, but I'm not going to go through all of them because we're going to keep it tight today. But in the next webinar, I will take us through more use cases. And so let me go back to the presentation. All right, so just to recap what we looked at, Demo 1 and 2, data entry prefill and payment review. Demo 3, contract assistant. And here's a few other things we might do in the next webinar. So for example, put in a PDF, review this schedule PDF, find opportunities to accelerate. Dropping in text, just an entire thread of emails, and then giving it the contract like we did, and then assessing it to see maybe, how do I resolve this dispute, or how do I respond to the contractor? Assess it and draft a reply. Tender submissions, taking an entire PDF tender submission, reviewing it in accordance with the RFP. And then last one, here's an RFP. How should I price this? What are the opportunities to earn more fees if I go in low? So some ideas there that we might recap in another webinar in 4 weeks' time. And some of what you might see in that next webinar is on screen. So more development of the AI contract assistant to expand out to have more clauses. So not just payments. We're going to start to review variations automatically, review EOTs automatically, and just review more and more of the whole contract. And then I think where we want to go is from the inbox. So maybe you don't even have to go to Mastt. You can actually just forward those documents from Aconex, or forward those documents in email straight to Mastt, and let Mastt's agent handle all the cost management and all the contract administration. So you don't even have to go into Mastt. I mean, that would be just absolutely, absolutely wild. So if you do want to play with anything that you've seen here today, you can head to mastt.com now and get free access to these secure, ready AI products. The auto form fill has kind of been in market now for about 6 months. So being used by all of our customers around the world on a daily basis to save a ton of time. That's on the free tier. So any limitations or worry about, how do I migrate all my data into Mastt, shouldn't be a worry. You can just drag those PDFs straight in and start to build out your register. Mastt AI in beta mode is actually free as well. So if you sign up, you'll get your free project, and you can start using Mastt AI and putting documents into it and engaging with it in that natural language. The only feature that's not free that we saw today is the payment review. And so that's only available on the professional and the enterprise plans. But I think you'll get tremendous amount of value through Mastt AI and auto form fill. And then when you're ready, you can upgrade to a professional plan or an enterprise plan when you need to save even more time. So just to leave us all with a quote before we wrap up today, we're nearing the end of time. really, this is truly what I believe, that AI won't replace you. It's actually going to liberate you. And that is a super, super bright future for everybody in our industry, because we're smart people doing some amazing work, but we know there's a lot to build and there's a lot more that we need to build, and we need to free ourselves up from all this rubbish work that we do so that we can focus on those more important things. So AI will liberate us. This is a liberation moment, and it's a great time to be in project management. So thanks so much, guys, bringing us to the end of time. I'll do my best to stick around and answer some questions, but thank you so much for your time. The recording will be shared, and I look forward to chatting with you all and seeing you on the next webinar. Thanks, guys.